Have you been trying to change your approach to your problems, but having a really difficult time doing so and not really understanding why? Stay with me because this one is for you. Welcome back to those that have been in the channel before. But if you're new, my name is Ashley. I'm a mental health expert and I help Christians overcome anxiety using Christ centered neuroscience without just pray more advice. Today's topic is all about how we respond to our problems. Understanding this can make a huge difference in how you navigate stress, conflict, and feeling unsafe, which are all very central aspects of anxiety. And the wild part is, most of the time, we're not consciously choosing our reaction. Yeah, you heard me correctly. We are not as in control as we would like to think that we are. Why? Because our body is doing it for us. And it typically tends to respond with what is familiar. So once you start to understand what's happening, you can start responding differently. And that changes everything, my friend. But in order to fully understand this, I need to introduce two key principles to you. So, number one, problems are perceived as threats. And that's because they threaten both your internal and external world. The second principle is whenever you encounter a threat, your body reacts with a threat response. So these are meant to help you encounter, navigate, and survive the threat. So if we combine these two principles together, then your reactions to your problems are actually threat responses. So don't be too hard on yourself. Give yourself some grace for exactly that reason. The good news is that we can do something about these threat responses. So, first, I'm going to go over 6 common threat responses. And just like many of the other concepts on this channel, every one of us experience them. But usually, we have one or two that default even without you thinking about it. So, that's what you're going to be paying attention to. Then I'm going to actually give you some strategies and tips to help you. So by the end of this video, you're going to be able to know what your default response is, and you're going to have some things that you can work on right away to help you with these default responses. So let's start with the first two. These ones are commonly talked about, so you probably have heard of them. They are fight and flight. Fight sounds exactly like what it is. These are people that are confronting the threat. They push back, they attack it with full force, they are going towards the threat. Now, the issue with this default response is that people can tend to be impulsive and driven by emotion when they are constantly fighting problems. So, this does not allow you to make the best decisions for you, and it can make you more prone to getting in trouble because you're acting very quickly. Flight, on the other hand, are people that want out. They want to get away from that threat as soon as they possibly can. They avoid, they escape, and they withdraw. The issue with this as a default response is higher levels of fearfulness because you're not actually facing things and you're not confronting it. That doesn't allow you to see what you are capable of doing. The next two are also well known, but they are mostly talked about in the trauma space. That is freeze and fawn. Freeze is when your mind goes blank, your body feels stuck, you're still and stoic, and it can be hard to really get out of that place because you want to move, but you can't. Usually, freeze happens because your brain is trying to process what to do next or what happened, and it's having a really difficult time coming up with an answer that feels satisfactory enough for your system to begin again. The problem with this default response is that people that tend to freeze experience less action when problems happen, and that can be very difficult when you need to take action or you need to make a quick decision. They tend to experience more indecisiveness and are more prone to get stuck in overthinking and rumination. Fawning, on the other hand, is surviving a threat by appeasing others. So you say, here, whatever you want. So with the fawn response, someone is giving in to the situation. And so they're saying, hey, I just want to get through this. I want to survive this without any conflict or issues. Fawning as your default response makes you more susceptible to people-pleasing behaviors. So you keep the peace even at your own expense. And we know what can happen when this is your default response. You are more prone to experience burnout. You are more likely to not take good care of yourself and neglect your own needs. And so this can have really big ramifications, and you're going to be exhausted because you're going to be trying to do the impossible, and that is to keep everyone happy. The last two are not as talked about, but also very important to still mention. The next one is fine. These are people that are going to tell you everything is fine and it's not a big deal, even when it is. This isn't just your ordinary pretending that everything is okay. This is minimizing and denying problems so much to the extent that you are not actually living in reality. If you've heard of toxic positivity, this definitely falls within this category. You are not even acknowledging or putting on your radar that there is danger or problems. I've already said why this default response is problematic, but I'm going to reiterate it. You're not living in reality, and that is not good for anyone. And the last one, faint. Now, faint is less common, but super critical when it is there. And that's because the body literally shuts down. So these people experience a drop in heart rate and blood pressure, and they get less blood flow to the brain, which can cause your body to faint. As you can imagine, this threat response can be dangerous, particularly because of the potential to fall and injure yourself. This is something you have to be careful about because this can turn dangerous very fast. So now let's pause for a second and ask yourself, which ones are your default responses? Most of you have identified yourself already, but there may be a few of you that haven't. So I want you to consider three questions. First, when I feel stressed or unsafe, what do I usually do? Two, what happens in my body when I feel stressed? Three, how do my emotions push me to act? Again, knowing your pattern is important because this is going to allow you to start working with it instead of against it. Now, let's get to some solutions. But I'm going to do this a little bit different than most of the other content creators. Along with the solutions, I'm going to give a Proverbs full of wisdom for each default response. And this is a Proverbs for you to meditate on throughout the week. So first we have fight. Your verse is Proverbs 15:1. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. This verse emphasizes calming down conflict instead of escalating it. So for our fighters, your key word to focus on is de-escalation. Your work is learning how to slow things down. That might look like taking a time out, going for a walk, or just removing yourself before things fully escalate. But know that not everything requires your full force. And if you have a lot of energy that you feel inside your body, the best thing that you can do with it is regularly exercise. It is going to help you to release it and give your mind the ability to take the time before you spring into action. For the people that tend to run, your verse is Proverbs 24:10. If you falter in a time of trouble, how small is your strength? This verse highlights the importance of staying in difficulty and being able to approach situations rather than withdrawing. And this aligns with the psychology that if you continue to avoid or withdraw from situations, your fear will increase and you will not have the capability to approach this in future scenarios. You are going to continue to run. Your keyword is stay. Not all at once, but little by little. If there is discomfort, practice grounding yourself and being able to stay in the present moment without completely disappearing. So maybe you just give yourself a minute with the discomfort before you escape. Your growth is in staying. All right. For our people that tend to experience freeze, your verse is Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not in your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. This gives so much permission for you to go ahead and move forward and take action, even if you don't have all the answers yourself. This verse is encouraging you to go ahead and seek answers, but to seek answers from the ultimate wisdom. And so you may not know what to do in the situation. You may not be able to fully process it, But this is when you go to the word and you get instructions. And so, Proverbs, it will be a very great book of the Bible for you to read because it tells you so much of what to do in situations. If your body is actually in the free state and you're trying to take action, then your body just needs help coming back online. And so you can do simple things like give yourself exposure to cold water, go for a walk, stretch, or even just holding ice. And from there, you should be able to move forward. All right, our fawners, your verse is Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. This verse supports honoring your own needs and giving yourself protection. Boundaries are protection, but particularly protection of your values. If you are a people pleaser, you have got to start checking in with yourself. Identify your values, what you want and what you're okay with, so you can begin to set boundaries. Don't leave yourself exposed. Protect yourself. For those of you with that fine default response, your verse is Proverbs 27:12. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. I want you to take time and ask yourself, is this really working for me? Is this truly keeping me safe? Or is that an illusion? Because this verse is telling you, if you keep going the way that you are going to pay costs. It is going to have consequences. You cannot avoid reality forever. Ignoring your problems doesn't make it go away, but it does delay your potential and growth. And lastly, for our fainters, your verse is Proverbs 18:14. The human spirit can endure in sickness, but a crushed spirit who can bear? This verse points to the importance of caring for your physical and emotional state before reaching collapse. So you want to start learning your warning signs, and you want to start learning what types of situations cause you to faint. When you feel it coming on, the most important thing is getting yourself in a safe position. And so you really want to take care of your body first when it comes up. Once you start to feel any sense of I'm about to faint, get yourself in a safe position, and then you're going to take care of your body by increasing your blood flow. So that could be through drinking water, doing neck stretches, or putting a wet cloth on your face or neck. But you want to help your body re regulate before you actually get to the point of a full on faint. All right, my friend, we have covered a lot in today's video, but take those solutions and start putting them into action. You don't need to do all of the things, but you do need to start somewhere. I'd really love to hear from you all in the comments which default response relates the most to you. So drop it in there and I'm going to read every single one and respond back to you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so because I'm going to be talking about the angles of anxiety that you are not going to hear in many other places. I will see you in the comment section. Take care.